that garage full of boxes, that's not a storage problem. That's a decision problem. And if you're somewhere in your late 50s, early 60s, the kids are gone, retirement's getting close. But here's the part nobody says to your face. If you don't deal with that stuff, somebody you love eventually has to. Now, my name is Kip, and I'm going to tell you what most agents won't, and some of it you might not like. So, 3 things. Why the normal way of decluttering fails almost everybody, the backwards method that actually helps you be successful, and the payoff at the end, which is the part nobody talks about. So stick with me, because that third one changes how you see your own house. So look, traditional decluttering. You walk into a room, you pick something up, and you ask yourself, do I keep this or do I toss it? And that sounds reasonable, right? But here's the problem. Every one of those decisions is a goodbye. You pick up your kid's old Little League trophy and you're not organizing anymore. You're suddenly grieving. Now multiply that by every object in a house you've lived in for decades. And that's why the project dies in the first afternoon. You make a keep pile, a donate pile, and then the third pile, the I'll decide later pile. And you know which pile always takes over the room. Now, that's not a willpower problem. The method is broken. So flip it. There's a thing called backwards decluttering, and it works like this. Instead of deciding what to get rid of, you empty the space completely, and you only put back what you actually use or genuinely love. You see what changed? The question flipped. It's not, can I bear to part with this? It's, will I use this in my next chapter? And that's a yes question, and yes questions are fast. Now the Swedes have the name's gonna sound bad, it's called death cleaning. But the idea underneath is one of the most loving things I've ever come across. You sort your own things on your own timeline so the people you love never have to do it for you in a weekend while they're grieving. I've seen what happens when nobody does it. A few years back, I helped a family out in Cambrian clear their dad's house after he passed. He'd spent decades in that home, and his kids were grown adults now, with jobs, families of their own, and they spent weekend after weekend in that old garage. And at one point, his daughter was sitting on the concrete floor, holding a box of old, I think it was books, and she was crying. Not because of the books, because she couldn't tell what mattered to him and what didn't, and he wasn't there to ask anymore. And you want to know what happened to most of those boxes? They didn't get sorted, they got moved. Now I've watched this with my own eyes selling homes here for over 20 years. Grown kids load box after box out of their parents' garage, and then they drive all that crap straight into their own garage. Nothing gets decided because they just simply too overwhelmed. Now, the stuff just changed addresses and it sits there for years. Because this project doesn't disappear if you skip it. It simply transfers to someone you love at the worst possible time. Maybe after you're gone, maybe just when you've moved somewhere smaller and you can't do it yourself anymore. Which is why right now matters. If you're in that window between the kids leaving and the niece complaining, you've got 2 things you will not have later, and that's energy and your own timeline. So do it now. It's a project. Do it later, it's an emergency, or worse, it's somebody else's burden. And I know what some of you are probably thinking. Kip, you're asking me to throw away my memories. And no, I'm not. And don't kill me here, I'm just keeping it real. That box up in the rafters you haven't opened in years, your memories aren't in there. If they were, you'd take them out and visit them. The memories are in you. They're in the photos, they're in your kids. The box is just a box. So keep the things that make you feel something when you hold them, and let a photo stand in for the rest. And while I'm being straight with you, there's another one I hear all the time. The kids will want this. This will be worth something someday. And this may not be what you want to hear, but most of the time, they don't, and it won't. The formal dining set, the hutch, the china nobody was ever allowed to eat off of. Your kids are furnishing their homes out of IKEA and Target. They move way more than we did, and they are not lining up for heavy brown furniture. So I made a video a while back called Your Kids Don't Want Your Stuff, and I'll leave a link down below. So I'll tell you what happens when families don't believe me on this, because I've watched it over and over. The family inherits a house full of stuff and they try to squeeze every dollar out of it. And when they are in this situation, they basically have three choices and they're all worse than people think. Choice one, they hire an estate sale company. And I'm going to be straight with you about these. It's a glorified garage sale that somebody else holds for your kids. The family always expects the stuff is worth way more than it is, and they're working around the company's calendar. So it can be weeks, sometimes months, before the company can even fit them in. Now, they always charge a fee no matter what happens, and I've watched families come out of pocket because the sale didn't even cover their fee. So this brings us to choice number two. Your kids do the garage sale themselves. So now your family is hauling everything out to the driveway and sitting there all weekend while strangers offer them pennies on the dollar for all of this stuff. And you know how that ends. By the second day, most families are just giving it away because they can't face doing it again. Choice number three is donation, and this one surprises everybody. Goodwill, Salvation Army, they're very choosy. They turn things down all the time, especially that big furniture. So you know how it actually ends most of the time? A hauler. A truck pulls up and everything that's left goes to the dump. And let me be clear about why I'm telling you that. It's not to talk you into getting rid of your things. It's because nobody picked that ending. It just happened to them because the deciding got left for later. So when you do this now on your own terms, you're the one who decides where things go. The stuff that still has life in it, hand it to a person who will actually use it now while you can watch them enjoy it. Some things do hold up. Genuinely high-end pieces, good jewelry, real art. But for most of it, the value was never the thing. It was the life you lived around it. And that part you keep forever. The old hutch in your garage, you're allowed to let it go. Now, I've stood in more packed garages than almost anyone you know, and I've seen what stuff does to people, which brings me to the payoff, the part I promised you at the very beginning. Storage units. There are more storage facilities in this country than McDonald's and Starbucks locations combined. Think about that. We built an entire industry out of not deciding. And some of you are paying $200 a month to be a part of it. That's $200 a month for boxes you haven't opened since you rented the thing. And I know what you tell yourself, it's just $200. It's not. It's your money buying a small room for stuff that gives you nothing back. Add that up over the years and that's a trip you didn't take. And the payoff isn't just money. I worked with a couple over in Almaden who raised their whole family in that house, and when we finally cleared the garage, you know what she told me? We parked our car inside for the very first time since the kids were little. She was genuinely laughing about it, but underneath the laugh was the real thing. You know what I hear from people all the time after they do this? Same word, every single time. Lighter. They just feel lighter. Less to clean, less to fix, less to shuffle around. Your weekends come back and the stuff stops owning you because that's really what's happening whether you feel it or not. And I'll tell you something from my side of the table. The homes that are already cleared show bigger and sell faster every single time. Now, I'm not telling you to go full minimalist and live out of a backpack. Keep what you love, let the rest go. So here's my challenge. One drawer, that's it. Pick one drawer this week. The bathroom's the easiest place to start. Empty it all the way out and only put back what earns its way back in. And then let me know how it went. Just drop it in the comments. Tell me what was the hardest to let go of or what surprised you. I read every one of those and I genuinely want to know. That's what I'm here for. Seriously, no pitch, no pressure. I'll see you in the next one.